That's the stage. There we are. Can you hear me? No, I can't hear you because I don't have my speaker on.
Yeah, I can hear everything.
I mean on the computer, not the phone.
I'm on the phone.
Okay, let me do this. Can you hear me now, Brian? Brian from Legal Shield, you have to unmute your mic for me to hear you.
Ah, perfect.
There we go. You don't have an avatar, but that's okay. Hannibal, what's up, brother? By the way, I still got to send you that stuff. You got to send me that stuff for your retirement account that we were going over, or the insurance policy that you already have that we were going over last time we spoke. I've been going through a couple of things. Sorry for not getting back to you immediately. But you guys know how it goes. So here I have a buddy of mine that we do business together. He is part of my Legal Shield team. And with Legal Shield, we are part of what I do, obviously, in protecting your NNC worker. What's going on, brother? How you doing today? Part of what I do as your insurance advisor is I help to, protect your assets financially. But my buddy Brian from Legal Shield, he helps to protect your assets legally. So it's, I have the insurance, and he has the legal insurance.
Yeah, basically what Alonzo Hall does, he'll help to create some wealth, and I'm going to help to protect the wealth.
Exactly. He says, I'll go through my basket of papers to find which ass. No problem, Hannibal. Like I said, we'll connect and, get things back together. You finally got a couple of days off. So, ladies and gentlemen, I got to go grab my phone charger and get really set up so we can get ramped. This is a little impromptu. We were going to do something a little different, but I've been speaking to people because as you guys know, I'm not terribly consistent on here, and that's kind of unfair to you guys, my audience, because when I show up, you guys show up and show out like you are already, right? I haven't even been live for 5 minutes, and I've already had 3 or 4 people roll through here, right? So the impact that I'm having right now is I'm also speaking to colleagues of mine who may have been working a lot since getting a new job at the railroad. Yeah, you were talking about the railroad retirement account that you have. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff to go over, Hannibal, and trust me, I'm here for you. So what I've been doing is speaking to my colleagues about the reality of the fact that, listen, it used to be back in the days, it was a door-to-door salesman. And then this thing called the telephone came out. And then it was the newest, latest technology, and people were probably afraid of it. But the best people and the wealthiest people benefited from it. Why? Because they said, well, why would I go knock door to door, waste time? Because it takes time, from energy and effort for me to hop in my car, park my car, find a neighborhood I want to prospect, hop out of the car, go knock on the door, wait for the person to come to the door or not. If they come to the door, finally introduce myself. And that's been substantially longer than I've done right now. And literally, I just spoke to 2 people who I either did or potentially did business with or will do business with in less than 5 minutes. All that would have been the approach of one person. So
it's a whole new world out there.
Yeah. So we used to let our fingers then do or we used to, instead of actually doing the walking, let your fingers do the walking, and you would dial the phone. Now we have social media. Social media is going to reach an abundance of people, and more people are clicking and scrolling than ever. People don't want the traditional fluffy BS. They want someone that they can really relate to and probably actually reach. I don't want a 1-800 number that I'm going to call and have to cycle through. Please dial 1 for this. Please, I want to go, hey, Alonzo, I have a problem. And Alonzo might not text you back for a couple hours, but when you get that text back, it's Alonzo, and you're not frustrated ahead of time, having to still wait 2 hours to get to Alonzo because you had to go through all those prompts. And it says, oh, Alonzo's not available. We'll give you a call back at his earliest avail. Beep. Right? So the world is changing, and we are in the microwave generation. The microwave generation don't really want to come out to your office if I don't have to. If I can get what I need to, and let's look at the fact of this. back in the days when the telephone did the walking and talking, the people who were like stockbrokers and rich people, do you think they were out there door knocking? No. They picked up the phone and called Pat Sajak and were like, hey, Pat Sajak, I'm in New York City. You're in Baltimore. The only reason I know that because I actually called Pat Sajak while I was a stockbroker, and Pat Sajak Enterprises is created in Baltimore. Well, Pat Sajak spent $12,000 over the phone. He never saw me. He never saw the broker, right? So what ends up happening is there's levels to stuff, and people get complacent in certain levels. It's just like they say, you know, poor-minded people, they talk about, you know, people. Middle-class people, they talk about things. Wealthy people, you know, they talk about control, right? So there's levels to it, right? Just like when you're looking at clothing and stuff. So I'm going to pause for a brief second. I'm going to go play my music, get the intro, allow people to roll in for like 2 minutes. And then from there, we will get into, you know, the entirety of what we've got going on here. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to hit the like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. 1 second, I will be right. All right, folks, I'm back. You know, had to go grab me something to drink right quick. And let's just see what we got here. Like we said, good afternoon. Salute. So I want to talk to basically what ended up happening was myself and a couple of colleagues were having a conversation, and I was like, look, you guys are pissing me off. I need your help on social media. Either come up here with me or like, what the fuck, right? And, you know, unfortunately, I'm one of the younger people in my colleague group. And so I realized that in different generations, there's going to be different fears and apprehensions. Prime example, my grandmother is in her 80s. If I put her on the computer to get on Facebook, she's very fearful. She'll start sweating and stuff because she's nervous and scared that she's going to mess something up. Because back in the 1930s, if you got on the computer, then you had to be, you know, some rocket scientist, and you had to be super smart. And, you know, if you press the wrong button, stuff could blow up. That won't happen today. And so now when you have people who are of a certain age range, or just a certain belief, because there's young people who are afraid of getting online too. This is why Kai Cenat started Streaming University. The problem is that a lot of people are going to pay for it and not realize that all he's going to do is say, hey, do you have an iPhone? Yeah, take out your iPhone. Okay, Go to your camera. Okay. Hey, Miss KP, how you doing? Once you go to your camera, hey, I'm at my camera. Oh, press record. Say stuff. Right? Now stop saying stuff and press stop. Now you have a pre-recorded video. Now go to YouTube or Instagram or TikTok or the 10,000 bazillion other stream, Rumble, Roar, Locals, whatever it is that are social media. Click upload. Now you've created your first piece of content. There's also an apprehension of, hey, well, you know, I need my videos to be perfect and I have to have the perfect background and the perfect lighting. And unfortunately, there is nothing that's going to be perfect, right? You might be worried because you're so used to what a lot of people are doing as these live streaming podcasts, but they have people behind them. Club Shay Shay is not just Shannon Sharp doing his thing. That's from a television network. But the organic stuff is a guy taking his cell phone, his iPhone, and going, hey, I'm Bob. Do you want to see what Bob's doing? You know, if I go to YouTube and look at some of the most obscure channels, right? You will see some of the most random, most obscure stuff, and people watch it, right? And why is that, right? Let's see. This. I didn't ask to go to luxurytravel.com. Right? So if we look at some of the obscure stuff that might be online, let's look, right? We've got, for example, there's a guy by the name of Badlands Chugs. Do you know what he does? He takes drinks. He'll take, 15 cans of soda, put them in a giant wine glass and drink it, right? He doesn't have cutting edge technology. Over time, yes, after he's gotten a bunch of supporters and now he's got millions of followers. In fact, let's check that out really quickly. I just want to see something because the apprehension is absolutely a thing. Let's see. So here's Badland Chugs. Badland Chugs. This man has, let's see, 3.64 million people are watching him. Let's watch what his content is.
You see what's before you, folks. Oh, man. Today, I tracked down all the sprites that I could find in my area. There's only one thing to do. Is to put them in the wine glass and chug them. Oh, I did not mean to do that. Ooh. Oh my God, what was that? Don't touch that mouse.
I actually like Badlands Chugs, but I do that just because I wanted to give the idea that, people don't understand. I watch some content where a guy goes to farms with a BB gun and shoots rats, right? This particular one video of this fat black guy drinking soda got 22,000 views in a day. So what I tell people who are in fields like mine is, listen, if you're going to use social media, you can use it for business or as business. Now, Badlands Chugs uses it as both. Yeah, he built his following based off of drinking pop and belching, right? So you mean to tell me that people like myself or people like Brian from Legal Shield can't build a following from coming up here and saying, hey, I sell Legal Shield. I sell insurance. I'm a real estate agent in Brooklyn, New York, and been one for 20 years. If this guy can get 22,000 views from drinking soda and belching, right? Right. It's not for everybody, Miss KP, right? But this is the thing about using social media as business or for business. So I use my social media for business. I may start using it as well as business, right? Often you know, what I do is, you know, I share insurance related stuff and things like that. Because again, just as simple as, you know, he can get 22,000 views, I can get 22,000 views. Now, am I consistently getting 22,000 views like him? Not yet. But when I go live, you guys are here. You guys got the notification, right? You guys are going to like, comment, subscribe, share. Other people are going to come around, right? He's been around a number of years. No, it's not something that happens overnight, but no business happens overnight. We don't think McDonald's went from 0 burgers to 9 billion in one day, right? The word spreads. Other people then start to become your biggest sounding board. So now, when I have a video here and on TikTok and on Instagram and on Facebook, and then nobody watches it here, but 3,000 people watched it there, and my biggest video on TikTok did 110,000 views, right? So maybe those people from them 110,000 views who saw me on TikTok will now turn around and see me on, give me 1 second. This is Alonzo speaking, how can I help you? What's going on, brother? Yes. Yes. All right. Sorry about that. But so, you know, like I said, in the matter of minutes, I've got at least 5 people here watching me. I haven't been live for 20 minutes, and I really haven't even started talking about the business that I do. But you guys are familiar that generally when I bring my content, it's going to be substantive. And so, you know, I've had people who have been like I was competing with another gentleman who's in my peer group, and I said, hey, you know, I sent him some, social media isn't the end all be all, you got to get out there. Well, again, I have 1,500 people. I can't encounter 1,500 people in one day from being out there. Well, I can encounter them, but you know, they won't know or give me a time of day, right? This, you guys have the option of watching it later. Now you can watch it later and say, oh, this is something I want to consume. This isn't something I want to consume. But now if I have a business opportunity, just like Hannibal, you know, we had a consult, right, Hannibal? But you didn't the first day you see me do a consult. It took a little while, right? So me being out there and handing you a business card is a substantially lower conversion than you becoming what in the sales world we would call a warm lead. So I don't like to go generate cold leads. I like warm leads, right? You may not do business with me for 1, 2, 5, 10 years, but now that you're following me and you're consistent, I'm always on your mind, right? I don't have to worry about creating a newsletter. I don't have to worry about emailing you and setting up in my schedule on Monday mornings to email people and say, hey, I'm still here when I do a live stream. Because when I do the live stream, I'm on the top of your head. When I release content and YouTube says, hey, Alonzo just dropped another video, you're now a person who is aware of me. So now when you're having these conversations, shout out to my man Sheed, we hear. He's not here yet. I might share the video to him. He comes in, we hear. When he's doing his lives and he's talking about what he's talking about, and then somebody brings up money, because generally I see Sheed, we hear going live in the mornings. Miss KP, I've seen you there. NC Worker, I've seen you there, right? When he goes live in the mornings and he's doing his morning work drive, he'll say, man, y'all should go talk to Alonzo. Now, if I'm not available at the moment, he'll send you to my channel and say, hey, go watch these videos. Now, let me tell you also, as a person who uses social media for and as business, why I enjoy having my social media. Because it gets rid of the time wasters a lot. When people want to come, hey, Leah, I want to have a consult with you. Sometimes, often, I'll do a consult for at my expense. Normally, I charge $300, but a lot of the time, I'll do them at my own expense, just because I actually want to help people. When a person, I don't know that, hey, listen, this is why I have a YouTube. I'll give them, 10, 15 minutes. This is why I have a YouTube. Go watch a couple of my videos and then come back to me when you have semblance of an idea of what you're doing. Or like when I first started selling real estate. Why did I start my YouTube? Because I grew tired of, ironically enough, Mr. Brian is familiar with the person that I started doing real estate with. Well, I got tired of going to open doors for potential clients and then come to find out, oh, I'm not even qualified for a mortgage. I just wanted to see what this house looks like. And if you're in real estate and you're new in real estate, that's called spinning your wheels. It happens all too often. People will come to your open house who live in the neighborhood just because they want to be nosy and see what the house looks like. Well, guess what I did? I stopped spinning my wheels. I would go, hey, you interested in the house? Yeah. Can you show proof of funds? No. Do you have a pre-approval? No. Okay. Here's a YouTube video. It'll show you the house. I want to see it in person. No problem. When you get the proof of funds, you can come see the house in person. She says a headache. Yeah, so it helps you to avoid a headache. But unfortunately, people are looking for information. Now, the reality is that social media is extremely saturated. So that's why when you have niche things like Badlands Chugs, who has 3.64 million subscribers and gets 22,000 views, is because he is now popularized. The social media algorithm will push him out to more people, which is why it's always important to collaborate with other people, because just like when I used to do background acting, if you're a new face, the algorithm is kind to you and they push you to a lot of audience because they don't know what your audience is yet, right? So again, my audience, I do apologize for being inconsistent, but I have a lot of professional colleagues who I'd like to expose, because I used to do things like Friday Night Financials, where all I ask is 30 minutes to expose you to 1,500 potential clients. And people seem to get limp dicks off of that. I don't know why, but they prefer to go out and knock on doors, or they prefer to, pay money for potential clients that are also headaches, right? I know a bunch of people who buy insurance leads. I do not buy insurance leads. I don't buy leads. I don't like leads because leads are a headache. What they are is generally someone who's been giving a false pretense for something else, and then they get the switcheroo, and then I call them, hey, yeah, my name's Alonzo. You filled out in blood for some insurance. Yeah, I just did that because they told me I would win a free trip to Jamaica. You never know what these lead generation campaigns are actually doing. You just know you get a name and phone number. For all you know, they could actually just be going into the yellow pages, grabbing random names and phone numbers and giving them to us, right? We don't know. What say you, Mr. Brian? You haven't spoken at all yet. You got to unmute.
There you go. Yeah, it's great to be here. I was just recounting some of our conversations, and we were talking about, so for everybody who's listening in, Mr. Hall and I know each other going back several years to our mutual Omaha days. So he's, I'm in my 50s at this point, early 50s, but, he's a young man, and we've known each other a long time, and he's been trying to get me onto social media for a very long time. So we were having a conversation this morning about some of the reasons I'm not doing it. And then we had the idea, we should have this conversation online, right? Which is exactly what the point of what I was saying was, right? A lot of people who might be not necessarily very comfortable in this arena, right? And, we all understand that the money is online, but, for people that grew up with the technology, right, they're very comfortable with it. Being in my 50s myself, I'm not, I know that there's an opportunity, but, I don't want to put myself out there because I grew up in a time when we don't put ourselves out there like that. People are basically snitching on themselves. So it's kind of a weird concept to come around to. But what I said to Mr. Hall, maybe we can offer some content where we actually, using me as the example, right, you can show people how to, dip your toe in the water, so to speak, right? Like, hey, you don't have to put yourself on camera right away. Get on a phone call, go to StreamYard, right, and have the same conversation online and have a bunch of people check in and, engage an audience. And over time, months, years, what have you, you can build. And then people get to know you as a personality, as a person. And now there's an interest in you. Now they want to know what you can offer them. For instance, I offer, legal plans to families and businesses very affordably, right, through Legal Shield, right? Love what I do. I get to help people, but people will get to know me, and then that can essentially transition into creating more clientele and getting some leads. But by, essentially branding myself and by talking about the things about which I'm passionate. So that was my idea for the day, Mr. Hall. Thanks for having me on. You can take it from here.
Not a problem. Salute, JT. What's going on, brother? Hey, actually, you know what? Let me put the link in the chat because JT is in your age range. He's actually older. He's closer to 60. And he has a stream and comes on every day. So trust me, I understand the apprehension, but it often sounds like excuses. Not saying that that's what you're doing. And listen, everybody has that, right? Everybody does, those types of things. Unfortunately, we have situations where maybe, we're not confident. And so that confidence adds to an apprehension of what we are willing and or able to do.
Well, I think it's just a matter of, sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know, so you don't know it.
There you go.
Right? But prime example, again, throughout this process, from being online, right? People like the Underrated Darkness, JT, he brings me up to his audience. So guess what that does? Because he is able to interact with my presence, now what he does is he's actually done a live stream and said, hey, so guess what? What's going on, good brother? And said, hey, come see my audience, right? And now I go to his audience. Nick's tape. I see you, Nick's tape. They done took out them C's, huh? What's going on, brother?
Peace to you, peace to the brother, and everybody else in the chat.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just off camera because I'm showing my brother how you don't have to be on camera. But what I was explaining is, we're both in business. And I was explaining to him, listen, the easiest, fastest, cheapest way to generate leads is to create online content. You don't even have to talk about your business. You can talk about current events. People will come around and then, hey, ask you, hey, what do you do? Right? You and I, we met in the manosphere, right? Correcting dudes, showing brothers how to be, good brothers and real men. And then we talked about other things like finance, right? And like I said, we got to talk about them Knicks doing their thing. I'm jumping on the Knicks bandwagon right now because of my New York ties, right? And my boy Braun got knocked out in the first round, so I can't even shine on the Lakers right now. What's going on, brother? You wanna let my man know how easy this stuff is?
It is easy, let me say, me and Brother Alonzo, we met at the Manosphere. I already knew of him, he already knew of me, but the thing about talking, man, I was never really part of Manosphere. Let's put it like that.
Right.
Yeah, that's what people think I would, but I ain't gonna get into that. But the thing up that would intrigue with Brother Alonzo we talking about, and he knows I talk about in this space is financial. Now we hear other financial, talks throughout the years and stuff, but it's like here and there. But now we have somebody, and he knows already say this. Then we got somebody like Brother Alonzo. I said, Brother Alonzo, that had the game packed down. You know what I mean? They're telling us what we need to do. And I just had this, and I said it again. I mean, he didn't have to really, really do this. He could really charge if he really want to. And so, what it is that I Brother Alonzo, you don't give yourself credit either. Brother Alonzo no other he know other things. You know what I'm saying? So, but shout out to you. But it's easy. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, I'll be 59 in a few weeks anyway. So, but it's easy. You don't have to really talk about business and stuff like that. But you can mix it up. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, like sometimes what I do, like if I talk about business, if I talk family, sometimes Brother Alonzo, I say, look, what about business and family? Stocks and family and stuff. And then he comes in, but the conversation keep on going and stuff like that. Sometimes you gotta know how to renew. You gotta know how to renew and stuff like that So I've been doing this. I've been doing this for a minute. So if I don't know nothing, I'm going to the source. It don't make me a smart person. I don't certain things. I don't know certain things. I know. But like I coined this eternal learning. I coined this eternal learning. Eternal learning. Eternal learning. It's a marathon. You got to keep on learning. You know what I mean? That's the way it is.
Absolutely. And so one of the big things that we were talking about, excuse me 1 second. Sorry about that. I just choked on my apple juice. One of the things we were talking about is, lead generation and how you can actually create that presence. Like you said, we knew about each other prior, but one of the things is because I come up and I do content, now I have the ability to, if you want to talk to somebody and you tell somebody, yeah, oh, you want the insurance stuff? Hey, listen, talk to this guy, Brother Hall. You can actually turn around and say, hey, listen, we're talking, it's 10:30 at night. Maybe you can't call him right now. Hey, here, check out his YouTube channel. Look at a couple of the videos he's got. And then you can go from there and say, hey, blah, 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 blah. I just lost Brian. I'm assuming he'll be back shortly. But, those are some of the things that we were discussing that can be done.
Yeah. And that's what I've been doing in the past. They said, I know Brother Alonzo. I said, yeah, what do you get? No, I'm not going to get a number. But I said, but he got a channel. You go to it. Mm-hmm. I see the link.
Yeah. So, and I appreciate that. You know what I mean? And because, hold on. Looks like he's trying to come back up. It won't let him connect. I don't think he has his audio connected. So you got to connect your audio, Brian. There he goes.
Testing.
There you go.
Yeah, you good.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, this is a popcorn style, Brian. You don't have to be muted. Just speak like we're having a normal conversation.
Hey, when I'm having normal conversations, I often have to mute my own self. Sometimes doing a little too much. But, it's interesting in terms of content and what y'all were talking about, because I was saying to Mr. Hall earlier, there's the public, you have your public persona, the persona you want to, craft to be able to do business. And then there's your personal, right? So there's some things that you might want to share, even opinions or topics and things. There are things in my own life that are sort of controversial in a public sphere that I would not want the company for which I work to be associated with, and they wouldn't want that either, right? So it's for me, the challenge was coming up with what are the things where I'm passionate, but at the same time are also palatable, publicly not particularly controversial, but still interesting. So that was a conversation which I think maybe other people can relate. Like, hey, Red Pill, Manosphere, I meant it. Am I going to talk about it? Not really, because those are controversial things, which, for me, that's not my brand. I'm not about trying to be controversial. Like Mr. Hall talked about, I do social media for business, not as business. So that's a completely different thing. So as I'm kind of experimenting and thinking, like, what kinds of positive things do I like to talk about? The future, positivity, if it comes to business, efficiency, tactics, strategies, stuff like what we're talking about right now, how to generate leads, how to do things related to business, which are useful, but nothing particularly controversial. So, maybe if anybody else is listening, you guys are having the same kind of, I wouldn't say challenge, but you're like, hey, I want to have an online presence, but what is that going to be? And what do I want to talk about? So, hey, that's what we're talking about today. Or at least that's what I'm talking about today.
Okay, well, you know what, Brother Alonzo, before you continue, let me put this out there on my channel. Okay. You and Brian, once you come, well, Brother Alonzo, you come to my channel. Once you and Brian come, what you just told Brian, once you come to my channel, we could talk about business opportunities that us. I mean, that so we could build on that. I created it, wherever it is. Let's do it like that.
Absolutely.
I'm willing to do it. It doesn't. Listen, there's certain things I don't know. but I know I'm pushing 60 next year. I'll be 60 next year. So I have to know myself and everything. And so you come to my channel, and then people get to know you. Boom, boom, boom. We all win.
Absolutely.
You know what? We will take you up on that offer. That's a great offer, and anything we're talking about business, that's on brand for me. So definitely, thanks for the offer. Mr. Hall.
And also, we can talk about sports that deals with business too, because there's a lot of us don't know about the business of sports, business of law, business of stuff like that. And I'm like, older men like me, I'm putting myself out there. Older men like me, we need to get more educated about it. Because it's because that education is not towards us anyway. It's towards the young people. I'm not saying nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong. But I'm talking about us as older men. It's not the education is not coming to us. So we have to know. So
absolutely. And okay.
One thing I would say, Brian, when you're talking about being on brand or off brand from the business, and this is a mistake that a lot of people make. Why are you mentioning your business on your moniker? Do you work for the company or are you self-employed? If you're self-employed, prime example, I work under CG Wealth Solutions Group, but you don't hear any mention of CG Wealth Solutions or any of the carriers that I use. What you hear is Alonzo Hall and ADH Wealth Solutions. So if anyone tries to say, hey, Alonzo Hall, blah, 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 there's no affiliation with Mutual of Omaha or Lincoln Financial Group or CG Wealth Solutions Group. There's ADH Wealth Solutions or Alonzo Hall, because at the end of the day, being self-employed, it is my business, my reputation, and it's going to be me who's encountering the clients anyhow. So why do I even need to be Alonzo from CG Wealth Solutions or Brian from Legal Shield? Are you Brian or are you Legal Shield?
See, and this goes into the course. Like I was saying to you earlier, before we jumped on the live stream.
No, I'm just messing with you.
I want 10%. But yeah, I mean, it's to get back to what we were talking about a little while ago. Older people, there's certain things that we don't know, and there's all this technology. But even talking business and on the financial side, I think people in general, especially minorities, we don't get. Hey, white people use time to their advantage. What do I mean by that? So, for instance, if you get your child a life insurance policy at 2 years old, right, that child, when they're 20-something, could have a value of $1 million plus, right? Because just using time. But many people think, I don't want to think of my child dying, or consequently, the fear prevents them from taking an action that would actually benefit their child. Or, just look at people, adults, compound interest. Everybody knows if you start to invest at a certain age, you let time work for you, but we don't do it, right? So these are conversations I think that would be very fruitful to have. And most people can benefit from this kind of conversation.
Right. Brian, do you have a Legal Shield link that you can share with my audience if they want?
Absolutely. I'll drop that in the chat right now.
So as I look here, 8 months ago, some white dude with a beard did a Legal Shield review. Now, from our colleagues, one of ours by the name of Neil is always telling me I need to cut my hair and cut my beard and be clean shaven. And I don't disagree with him because I don't have a complexion for the affection. And if you look like me and you want to move up in corporate America, you almost can't have this look. Right? But I just typed in Legal Shield. And I see Chris Ward. Now, he is promoting that he works for Legal Shield, right? But then this other guy, Isaac Shutt, Esquire. Again, Chris Ward, independent. Well, that's the same guy. I'm sorry. Howmaster, Legal Shield. I tested Legal Shield in 2025. Audit ready, protecting Canadian small businesses. Legal Shield, make your life easy with online legal service. The actual fucking thing has their own social media.
For over 50 years.
But I don't understand. Right? And I got to get you a wrench. Oh, no, you have a wrench. Okay. But a lot of the actual things have their own actual online presences. If I were to bring it, let me show you something. Let me go to my YouTube channel. Let me see how many. So this particular YouTube channel has 17.6 thousand subscribers. right? This is actually Legal Shield, the corporate version. Meanwhile, you should put dashes for the cell phone number, Mr. Hedda. Meanwhile, Badlands Chugs had more views in one day than this video from Legal Shield, which was done a year ago. It has 21,000 views in 1 year because it's corporate and it's polished. Most people don't want corporate polished. That Badlands Chugs video, where some nigga just took every Sprite in existence and put it in a glass and drank it, got 22,000 views. So social media does take some work. But when you have a lot of this polished stuff, it kind of ends up being diminished. For example, let's view my channel. So my channel, I have 1.54 thousand subscribers. I put out quite a bit of content. Now let's see that Legal Shield, because I want to see how many.
For over 50 years, Legal.
I want to see. They have 17,000 subscribers, but how many videos do they have? They have 127 videos. No wonder they don't have any subscribers.
For over 50 years.
Right? If they really wanted to destroy everything and demolish the independent agent that represents Legal Shield, all they would have to do is put out boatloads of content. If you put out a video every day saying, we're Legal Shield, you like Legal Shield? I actually almost created to be honest, that he says, to be honest, that clean cut look is outdated to a certain extent, especially with the younger people, right? If you're under 40, I'm not looking for some clean shaven cokehead. That's really why they want you clean shaven, so you can do a bunch of illicit stuff and not have it smeared down your face on Wall Street. Right? That's why people voted for Donald Trump, because he was the anti-politician. Right? But I have less subscribers than them. A lot of the subscribers to the Legal Shield YouTube channel are Legal Shield representatives, and there's substantially more than 17,000 of them. But this goes to show the apprehension of coming online, because they have to be polished. Again, if we look at my channel, my profile picture is very polished, right? It's just me with some glasses on, right? But if you look at my channel again, 2.2 thousand videos. So of the videos I have consistent content. So it's consistently coming out, no matter what I'm talking about. How much do financial advisors charge? Why buy term invest, the rest fall short? Dream trap, what your pros don't know can hurt you. Why your most valuable asset is your income. Oh, options traders, life insurance got you beat, right? League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, upstanding. How to build your own success blueprint. Lessons from my journey, right? Now, no, are these getting a boatload of views? Here's a rest in peace to Theron K. Cal, who was a creator from the Black Manosphere. Nothing to do with insurance. Got 135 views. And a lot of these people only came because they know I tagged RBR Network. Well, because I tagged RBR Network, his people are coming over to see my stuff. He says, nobody cares about your suit and tie. Right? They care about the merit. Now, unfortunately, I have colleagues who are like, you have to be suited and booted or look a certain way. And again, it's partially true, right? Partially. But I also have links. If you want to go, hey, let me click, what's this? Oh, I can go to Planswell and get in here and leave my name, email address, and phone number and see who to work with. All right? I got to change my Planswell link here because that link is the wrong link. I'm glad I clicked that. Right? But so nobody particularly cares about the suit and tie, and to an extent, right? I like the suit and tie personally. I prefer, actually, my buddy was saying the clean cut, and I might be talking against it, but the reality is I kind of personally like that look. I like the way I feel when I'm dressed like that, right? And I had just gotten out of it because of the environment that I was in, so I kind of let myself go. But personally, suited and booted is my thing, right? But I can also work from the comfort of my home for the last 6 years. So I haven't needed to be suited and booted. But those are some of the things there. Mr. Ed, any questions, comments, concerns? I want to make sure that we have a back and forth. You got to unmute yourself. Oh, what just happened? Okay, he just fell off. He'll be back. So, again, a lot of these things are things that can help you to increase your online presence. So, let's look here, right? Now, that's my channel, right? Now, let's look at one of the carriers that I write business for, Prudential Insurance. So Prudential Insurance has 27,000 followers, right? Their biggest video since in the last month has 185 views. So it's not like they are killing the game, right? How many videos does Prudential have? 162 videos. I've got 2,000 videos. So if somebody wants to learn about insurance, just so you know, Prudential is one of the carriers I represent. So if you go to Prudential or you come to me, you're going to see a commercial for Prudential, right? It's just like I had a conversation the other day. Oh, building black wealth, 420.
So when we talk about building black wealth, it always involves a freedom from something and a freedom to something. When Dr. King was killed, I really didn't understand why my grandmother was so upset. I want my life to be as impactful on just one person as Dr. King's life was on my grandmother.
So I'm not watching that whole video, but now we see that, you know, they've got this super shiny. They probably spent $5,000 on this commercial. 139 people saw it, but if Prudential were to go live right now, they wouldn't get as much interaction as I got. Because again, the algorithm rewards authenticity. They don't reward polish. They reward authenticity. That's why your biggest content creators, prime example, oh, that's a nice GLC. You know, where is it? Again, Badlands Chugs, right? Authenticity. The man drinks soda and belches. And he has 3.64 million followers, right? Badlands Chugs, right? 3.64 million subscribers, right? Prudential, a financial institution, right? 27,000 followers. So people prefer authenticity when they're coming online. What's going on, brother?
Sorry about that.
That's all right. So I'm just interacting back and forth, you know, letting the brothers know how things are going. Letting the brother know, you know, in terms of, and I want to thank you so much for offering that, you know, that olive branch. And I'm explaining, hey, listen, you know what's going to happen? I will get 10 times more potential clients from coming on here, talking for an hour, bloviating, turning around. And now, boom, we already, just from coming up here, got an invite to your show. The #1 grinder. The hardest working man on social media.
I'm stopping that. Don't do that. I'm trying to keep you here, but I appreciate the compliment though. But that's the thing. I'm glad you showed it because, I'm talking about in this space, right? We had acquired. We got some great channels on here, you know, and it's not being pushed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I could do a live about it. I can. But to me, that's like, but like right here, right now, This is great information. I mean, there are people who actually say, I don't have the time. So I'm just saying, so what's the time is? It's like if you have, if there's a message that could transform your life, right? Tell me if I'm right or wrong. You, Brother Brian, and people in the chat. I thought that we get some great information that transform our life, we will make time for that, right? I mean, am I wrong about that?
You would think we would, but it seems like, especially when folks who look like us, unless it's, you know, shiny suit man, you know.
Hey, but Mr. All, what do they always say, right? If it's white, Wall Street, if it's black, it's a scam, right? So there is that perception out there that's always the fight. Am I right?
Very true.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. But get back into man. See, this is what I'm saying. That Brother Alonzo, you know, we talk offline and online and everything. As I'm gonna say, as a people too. I'm saying as a people, but I'm gonna talk it as men. Now, if you notice that when they had these men talks, and then when they talking about other things, they really don't show us, right?
Mm-mm.
Now, just think about that. Even like this, when they talking about life, I can tell you one thing. When they even talking about life insurance, Brother Alonzo talking about, you know, I think some of them listening to Brother Alonzo is copycat, if you ask me, because I observe, right? So so my point is this: as an older man and stuff, we have to understand what other men do. We got to understand. We got to look out for our own and stuff. And I know people go like, "Yo, why you say that?" Because this is supposed to be mental health month or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see none of us really about it. Even like talking about insurance, right? I don't see none of us be part of that conversation. So that's why one of the reasons that we have to be selfish.
Mm.
We have to be selfish to have our own conversation. And the ones that looks like us do not want to be part of the conversation, that's your choice. But do not reap the benefits that we pushing out when it happens. So it has to be, it has to be standards, it has to be degrees. And we have to stand on these standards and degrees that we pushing out. Because we have to understand that we still fight from the back. Us as the people, we still fighting for the back. Because we don't have prominent position, we don't have the right people sitting in these chairs to make sure that our policy be for us as a people. Now I'm talking about finance. Brother Alonzo, you can go more on that.
Absolutely.
So that's why they still treat us as consumers.
Yes.
Because we're not sitting there. Because the right one that don't look, the ones look like us, they sitting at the table, but they're not doing nothing. No, they take care of their family, but the money's not going in our community that it should. It goes to certain parts of our community that's already had, and I'm not saying nothing wrong with that. But if you notice that, and I've seen this throughout the years, Brother Alonzo, because I got to get off it because I got to do my thing. But the thing that pissed me off, right? We always talking about the dollars is going, but see, they dollars in their own community trickle down all around. Mm-hmm. I was just tricking that class. Just tricking 1 or 2 and that's it. But everybody else have to. So how the community is supposed to grow financially? How are we supposed to generate? How are you supposed to have generation wealth just for some? And they're gonna look at, they don't need it. They don't need it. So that's what I'm saying. We gotta change the mindset, and that's what we gotta have. Right? We gotta have people like you and Brian sitting at the table. Mm-hmm. To make policy, so to make sure that insurance that trigger out of everybody in our community. Now, the ones who do not want to take it, that's on them. Mm-hmm. That's an individual problem. You got to deal with it.
Hey, but you make a great point.
I could be wrong.
You know, like I always think of it too. Now that I'm where I am age-wise, it's like I'm in a position where it's my turn to to like the fireman's carry. Like you take from one, you pass it down to the future, right? So there are all these ideas. You know, we have a lot of wisdom and a lot of life experience. So good for us, good for us. But okay, how can I? What's a vehicle to pass that on to someone else? If I could touch one person, 1,000 people, then hey, that's been worth it to me. So part of my thinking is I also have that responsibility to kind of bring up the next generation of people, right? The next 2 or 3 generations and give them this knowledge, right? Because everybody starts from zero. The next generation starts from zero. So, hey, I have my vision of how things should be and or complaints about things. And one of our managers, Mr. Hall and myself, we had a manager. He said, if you don't like the culture, change it. And I always think about that. There are things I don't like. What am I doing about it? Right? So I just want to just drop that in there.
But see, understand what I gotta say one last thing. I gotta get off and start my own live.
No doubt.
But this is my thing, is Brother Brian, understand what I'm saying. It's nothing wrong with everything you're saying is right. But I want you to understand what I'm coming from. Where I'm coming from, these people, the other communities, they make sure all age bracket is covered. So anything that is lacking is always a safety net. Now, I'm telling you, as an older man, when it comes to, we need to know there's no safety net. And that is a problem. And that needs to be fixed. That these conversations, this is that conversation I'm bringing up, it needs to be fixed. Because we are dying, without having this education. So I got to go, brother. Thank you. Keep up the fine work.
No doubt. Salute. Thank you for coming up.
Hey, nice to connect with you, brother.
And I was gonna say change each other's info in the back chat, but I'll get when we get ready to go on his show. We'll definitely I'll connect that with you.
Phenomenal.
Another thing I wanted to piggyback off of what Brother JT was saying is that and kind of part of what you were saying too, Brian. And I think this is one of the major issues with the Black community. Oh, if it's white, it's Wall Street. If it's black, it's a scam. But then when somebody black brings you somebody, well, I don't want to hear that white man shit. I'll give you an example. So do you know who David Walker is or was, or what he did?
Can't say I do.
Okay. So David Walker was the U.S. Comptroller General from 1998 till 2008. So when it comes to things like the economy or government spending, you figure he has a pretty good grasp on it since that was his job, right? Well, I happen to be, thanks to my buddy David Kinder, who's also on here, and I'll pull up his YouTube channel as well. Let me share the screen and I'll share his. But he has me in circles with, and he has what, 5.2 thousand subscribers, but he's also got at least 1,600 videos, right? And then he does live streams as well. Now, he had me in a circle with the co-author of Millionaire Next Door, right? Old white guy. And here's one thing that we love in the Black community. I'm day trading. I'm trading Forex. Not unless you're starting with $25,000 or more in a margin account. The guy who co-authored Millionaire Next Door was like, yes, options is the best way to get rich. But you got to start small. Maybe $100,000, $200,000. That's not small for most Black people. That's starting, that's ginormous. That's Titanic for most Black people, right? Because when people like you and I come to our community and try to help, we get shunned with just like getting fought from, I don't really want to do the social media because I'm scared of it. I don't really want to mess with the white guy who says put $100,000 in because I'm scared of it. But I'll sure enough go listen to Wall Street Trapper who says put $35 in, suck a dick coin. And I made $1,700. It took 32 years, but I made $1,700 off of Bitcoin. You can't tell me nothing. Was that $1,700 life-changing? Right? I had a young lady told me she made $10,000 off Bitcoin in 1 year. Okay, you made $10,000 1 year. What about the following year? You made zero? So go get a job, get paid $15,000, work that job at McDonald's that 1 year. Now, the following year, work that job but make zero. Would you do that? No. So get the fuck out of here with this Bitcoin. We don't invest in the large enough tranches because we don't understand. Just like I said, we'll have people who will have these quasi-political conversations and have no fucking clue who David Walker is. How on earth then can you talk about the economy? Or you don't need to know who David Walker at Forex trading. Exactly, Hannibal. I think we went over this, right? The day trading rules from FINRA. In fact, let's add that to the stage just so we go there, right? FINRA day trading rules, right? So, why do you need $25,000 to be a day trader? Right? And this is from FINRA. So let's just go to FINRA.org, right? What is a pattern day trader? 4 more day trades within 5 business days. How many of these guys are telling you, yeah, I get up for 20 minutes every morning and I trade, and then after that 20 minutes, I'm done and I'm done for the day. Well, if you do that 4 times in a 5-day period, you're a pattern day trader, which means you have to have a margin account. How many of these people are telling you, like I'm not telling you, and like Brian's not telling you, we're actually trying to bring value to you, to the Black community. And they shun us. Or when I say, hey, listen, I charge $300, I'm gonna have to reschedule. Then you turn around and somebody says, hey, buy suck a dick coin. Well, according to FINRA, let's see. What is day trading? Day trading is defined by FINRA's margin rule, refers to trading strategy where you buy or sell or buy in a margin account on the same day in an attempt to profit from small movements in the price of the security. FINRA's margin rule for day trading applies to day trading in any security, including options. Day trading in a cash account is not permitted. So right there, everybody who's like, hey, come buy my course has just lied to you. But you'll go to their course when I say, listen, come buy my course. My course, I will guarantee that you will make $10,000 a month. All you have to do is pay me $9,999.99. Paying $1,500 a month for a car note, but don't have $1 million life insurance policy. Right? Or even worse, don't have a will and final testament. Because if you have a life insurance, go ahead.
It's all mentality, obviously. And I was having a conversation with someone, if you said to someone, right, hey, look, I can show you, guaranteed, a pathway that if you follow this, what I'm going to lay down for you, you will guaranteed have $1 million in 20 years from now. How many people would do that? Virtually zero. Because why? Oh my God, 20 years. But if you think about it, right? If you've been alive for more than 20 years, think of how quickly the last 20 years is going to go by, right? People don't realize, hey, whether or not I do or don't take the action, I still will be 20 years older. The difference is I would not have made the $1 million, right? Because it's not sexy, it's slow, but the logical solution would be to take that option. So with what I do at Legal Shield, there are two components. I can help people and families, getting their wills and legal papers and any kind of legal issues that they might have. There's a plan, it's inexpensive, and I show people how to use it. That's one component. The second part is team building. So we have an aspect where we can build a team and you can get paid in commissions and some override. And, it's a nice family situation. You come, join and put your family in different things, right? And you can get a lot of success. But many people will not. They look at it, it sounds good, but not for me. Let me think about it, because there's some work, not a ton, but there's some work, and they just don't have that long-term mindset to even say, hey, I'll put a plan in place for 5 years where I can make X amount of dollars. So I think a huge component, you see, when you give people something that's bad for them, they love you. When it's actually good for them, now that's where the kickback comes in. Am I right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But I want to add to that, because like you said, Hannibal said, you're paying $1,500 for a car note, and you don't have $1 million life insurance policy. So that's absolutely true, but that's only half of the job, right? So an insurance agent like me, this is why when I sit down with folks, I used to try and introduce them to an estate planning attorney. Number one, it's very hard to gain relationships with attorneys. And then they never gave me anything back for it, like possible business. And number two, they're fairly expensive. So that's why I partnered with Brian and Legal Shield, because for a substantially smaller amount of money, you get this. So it's a template that you can use to get your will and final testament. So
and by the way, just to piggyback onto that, many people, they want to get a trust. They don't even know exactly why, but they've been hearing, I need to get a trust. So fair enough. To get a trust, you have to have a will. So the trust costs, because there are 8 different kinds of trusts, I can't give a quote. That's really between you and the attorney. But what I can say is, hey, I can get your will done. $50 a month, you can get will, power of attorney, medical proxy, and that covers not just you, spouse as well, right? Most people know it's $800, $1,200, a couple thousand, depending, and that's where my value add comes in, right? Now, whether people take me up on it or not, different story. But the ones who believe in the future, believe in their future, want to protect their families, those are the people that tend to gravitate to me and also to Mr. Hall.
Absolutely. So, again, I put this out there because I want to remove the apprehension from my colleagues. This is something that, for example, me and Brian might commit to, coming live every day, having these conversations. It might seem for he and I like it's circular, like we're talking about the same thing over and over again, but we have to realize that you, the general public, aren't aware of a lot of this stuff, right? You don't know it exists, right? So if we keep having the same conversation over and, Badlands Chugs, you can only liquid drank out of a glass. You can only do that one way. I don't care what liquid it is. If you put water in that big wine glass, or Sprite in that big wine glass, or Coke in that big wine glass, or Dr. Pepper, it's still the same thing. He's doing the same thing. He's just drinking juice or drinking liquid out of a big ass cup. If 3.6 million people allow this guy to drink out of a big ass cup day in and day out for years, and they still follow, they're probably going to rock with us as well, especially since we do give valuable information. And the thing is, with repetition, you learn different stuff, right? So, for example, going over this will and final testament template, I might learn some different stuff after I go over it 20 times and, understand a bigger difference between, separate assets and community assets and so on and so forth, right? So that's just a little bit about that there. I'm getting ready to, I guess, wind down. We've been going for a little over an hour. Any last words, Mr. Ashley? Yeah, go ahead and, give a closing statements. I'll give you a good 2 minutes.
I just want to thank you for having this conversation today, because, Alonzo Hall has been, urging me strongly to start establishing an online presence, and I've been kicking back on that, against that. So, he caught me out with a good day. I had my caffeine. I was ready for him. He wasn't really ready for me, but that's all right. So I called him out, right? And I'm like, this is actually a great idea. Get on here, maybe every day or maybe several times a week. Try to, keep it around the same time. We can establish a cadence. And which, by the way, I say this to anybody else who has any aspiration. I think if you have a product or a service that you'd like to move, it's free. We can all do this. This is like my second time getting on StreamYard, getting on YouTube with Mr. Hall over here. And as you said, we're kind of talking about the same things. My plan is to, I believe you have to be, 90% entertaining. And then, a percentage can be whatever it is that you do, right? Right. You want to brand yourself, the way I see it, I want to brand myself with talking about the things that are of interest to me, because that's going to resonate with some people. They'll rock with me. And then because of that, they'll turn around and say, hey, what else is it that you do? Let me learn more about how you help families and how we can work together and build businesses and so forth. So in conclusion, that was my takeaway from this. Mr. Hall, thanks for having me today. Looking forward to the next one.
Awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy, the Insurance Junkie, your fiduciary fella, the all-star advisor, Alonzo Hall, your social media insurance broker. Make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. Lastly, to contribute to channel growth or to schedule an appointment with a licensed financial professional, the links are in the description of this video. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, wipe ass. Work in progress every day and see success. And I actually came up with a new one. I'm going to put that hashtag here. It's called wash ass. Work on something hard and see success. Wipe ass. Work in progress every day and see success. And wash ass. Work on something hard and see success. Lastly, when people challenge you, they don't challenge you to challenge you, but they challenge you to challenge you. Accept the challenge. Salute, 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 salute.